Well, we left off last video. We were bringing in the Kubota with the boxer to do a little bit of clearing from last year's clear, the little overgrowth that came, and managed to get in there and get it cleared away where the landing pad and the garage location was going to be, as well as our wagon wheel path for the lot. But it didn't do quite the job we were hoping it would, and had to bring in an excavator, and really got the lot cleared out with that. Of course, there's plenty of burning that needs to be done once you start clearing a lot. But got the wagon wheels set up and was having to go back and dig for depth. We were finishing with an 8-inch depth altogether, 4 inches of sand, and then 4 inches of compacted rock that still left the ground permeable for us so that we wouldn't have draining issues, which seemed to be a big thing with the lot, being that I'm on a lake and we're not able to, you can't just run off into the lake. You have to have some sort of location for it to all go to if it's not going to be into the ground itself. So got in there, got everything to depth, and was going to bring in the compacted rock, and voila. Compacted rock shows up, was able to lay it into the wagon wheel pass. Turned out real nice. This is going to work out great. It'll lead right to the landing pad for the garage. And we've also got the forms getting started for the garage. But we did find out that we needed to move about 5 feet away from the pump house. We were just a little too close, just like your boundary lines needing to be 5 feet off your north, south, east, or west boundaries. Same thing is true with buildings. You need to have at least a 5 foot separation from the buildings. So I had to get in there and move the forms that we had started for the foundation of the garage and move those about 5 feet to the east. So again, had to bust out the shovel and do a little bit of digging to relocate the garage forms over about 5 feet. And most of the dirt, being that we wanted to try to reuse it, we weren't going to do a lot of hauling out of the dirt, or we wanted to resurface other portions of the lot. I just started putting it up onto the side. A lot of that would later be put back around the garage area so that we were able to bring the up to grade, which is 6 inches below the top of the slab form for the garage. And so a lot of the dirt that you see piled up there, we actually were able to break down over time and brought it back around the garage. So very minimal amounts of grading that we're going to have to continue to do up in that kind of eastern portion of the lot. But just used standard 2x8 pieces of lumber, stacked them on top of one another, and then started to lay down the various stakes and supports that would help us in maintaining the strength of the structure when it came time to pour the slab. It was going to be approximately 10 yards of uh, cement that we thought we were going to use. Ended up using about 14 cubic yards, but brought in the tamper because with more crushed rock we had to build up that center area and make sure that we got a good solid base down. The type of foundation we were going to use was what they call a turn down, and that is about a 12-inch wide at the bottom, 24 inches at the top, and then you would go and have a flat surface that was the main portion of your garage area. Of course, you have to lay down your 6 mil vapor barrier first. And then with the rebar, you're laying two rebars down in the footing area, 6 inches apart. And then we just utilize the 6-inch stands down inside the footing area and ran the rebar around. And then used 2-inch stands out in the field and then just laid the mesh down into the stands. But also the other thing that it calls for on a turn down footing is that you need another piece of rebar that they are referring to as in the field. And that is the rebar you see that's kind of being held up by rebar extensions here. and those we tied off and then tied it into the main mesh screen. So a little bit wobbly, but once the cement starts to be laid, it firms up really, really well. So everything's in place. We're pretty much all set. We've got a good, strong support on the forms, and I think we're ready to get in there and pour some cement. So next up, we bring in the cement trucks and start to shoot the slab for the garage.